Hi friends. So today I wanted to make a part two video for regarding hierarchy and how I wanted to explain the context behind my idea regarding it. In my previous video, I kind of talked about the background, my background aspect on why I had, I guess, bad experiences in the past with hierarchy that kind of gave me a bad taste and a little bit of a bias right now. And I watched over the video again and I realized that I didn't get to the point, I think, the crux of why I ended up kind of disliking hierarchy. And I think the actual two main reasons one was that the system of hierarchy that kind of made me feel hopeless, I guess, lacked transparency and explanation. And you were supposed to just accept the situation. And the second part, I think, that made me dislike it was the system, or at least the individuals that kind of, you know, were using the system lacked empathy or didn't know how to empathize. So they couldn't understand, or they didn't bother trying to understand or explaining uh, to those they were kind of uh, pressuring, I guess. If they had a little bit more empathy, maybe they would have tried to understand why someone they're giving orders to might not understand. They might try to explain why they should listen, maybe, or why they have that authority or experience, background. Just some sort of, yeah, lack of empathy and explanation, I think, was what bothered me. Which brings me to my second topic today, what I think would be an ideal system of hierarchy and process and rules. Firstly, tackle that aspect which I seem to have bad experience with. Make Be sure to just empathize. I think if you have empathy, if you're an empathetic leader, you would understand the struggle of not knowing. And I think a good leader would be able to navigate and communicate well in a way that could hopefully convince, but even if not convince, to some extent logically get a subordinate to agree to take orders or agree to accept the situation, even if it seems unfair. I think that is a big part that I think would be in a good organization that would have strong hierarchy. And I think one of the biggest reasons for the existence of hierarchy is because sometimes people just don't know how to explain why someone should have authority, because there are so many components to becoming a head figure, a leader, that might not be explainable all the time. Partially because there aren't proper measurements to kind of portray their experience. Part of the reason could also be that it's very hard to teach someone who is young, get them to understand how time can represent a significant experience, maturity, just being able to see a bigger picture just from experiencing an activity longer. And I think also sometimes what you have to explain, the background, may take too much time And so when you need to make quick actions, you have to get people to take your order, even if it doesn't make sense sometimes. And I think that's where the whole hierarchy system kind of was utilized to, yeah, take care of all those things I just explained. Um, but I think what an ideal system would be that it would be a continuous process of, yes, you would need a hierarchy to keep pace and and get things going, and uh, take action when there's not enough time. But at the same time, I think there has to be a continued process of figuring out ways to measure experience and portray it in a more tangible way, maybe that could be understood more quickly. I think at the same time there needs to be a process where um, there's plenty of communication and trust building within the system, so that even if, yes, you can't get all the measurements, you can't get all the explanation done in a short amount of time, you could create a culture that would trust the leaders enough to go through with the hierarchical system of taking orders regardless of, you know, agreeing or not, understanding or not. And I think uh, to do that, you just, yeah, have to make sure you're constantly communicating and constantly writing things down so that people who want to know why later on or in the moment could look it up, have accessibility to better understanding the why. Um, yeah. So I guess trying to figure out a corporate, you know, rules and policies that enable this kind of behavior and culture would make uh, maybe more strict hierarchical culture more agreeable, in my opinion. And I'm trying to think of how that could be implemented, let's say, in my current company, because, yeah, it's easy to kind of talk about like this, but implementing would be much more difficult. Um, but I guess that would be a topic for another time. Anyways, yeah, I think I covered the 2 points I wanted to. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you guys up again on that another time. Bye.